Ever since Worlds last year, I set myself a goal to make a full-time run at doing disc golf YouTube, and it has had so many ups and downs, but we come to a close on this year, and I have a lot of important stuff to share with you. So with that, let's get into it. I am starting a brand new journey with many new obstacles that I don't know how to face, but I will figure it out. First, I was just a fan trying to get as much Pro Tour life as I possibly could. Then I kind of became a sort of little bit full-time YouTuber, making disc golf videos every single free chance I had. And this is one of the first discs that was ever made for me. And then one of the craziest things happens. I hike 250 miles to the foundation headquarters to do a fundraiser for MS. And that is where it all started.
I still recall the day.
And honestly, if it wasn't for my wife giving me the green light, I probably would have never done this. I base so many of my decisions on like rational thought and is this a good probability of having good things happen, and taking a leap like this is just terrifying for me. So let me tell you, I was in utter shock. Within a few weeks of having gone full-time, a little known disc golfer, Simon Lizotte, he actually responded on Instagram saying he'd love to do a collab, he wanted to do an interview, and of course trying to not be a total fanboy, I was like, yeah, that'd be cool, I guess, whatever. But then I actually spent an entire weekend with him, and I feel like I got a huge glimpse as to what he actually is like, what his life is like, and it actually felt so similar to me. And so this weird occurrence happened where I went from just being a programmer that kind of loved disc golf to now focusing on just disc golf. And let me tell you, that transition was so bizarre, so jarring, but in that moment when Simon gave me a chance, I felt like it was actually happening for a reason.
These were wild runs.
Now that's definitely not to say that me and Simon are best buds, but it was so reassuring to know that Simon was actually super down to film, super down to do an interview, and really just open up about his life and definitely mine as well. Having talked about so many random stuff, I felt like my whole journey was kind of starting off on the right foot. And then from there, I've made a lot of videos. I pretty much uploaded at least 3 videos a week, and let me tell you, the views weren't really that spectacular. Honestly, looking back, the content wasn't that spectacular, but figuring out what my voice truly is allowed me to actually narrow down what I want this channel to be. And it all kind of stemmed from that weekend with Simon. I was figuring out so much about what I can do with filming, what kind of voice I can have and bring to the disc golf world, and basically nobody in this community is too big to talk to you. I've seen that again and again. No matter who it is, they're probably willing to talk to you. I was met with so many good opportunities to talk to players, talk to fans, and given the green light to film at basically every Pro Tour event. Now, while that sounds great, there is so much work that goes into figuring out, okay, how do I make it to this particular area at this particular time? I need lodging, transportation, food, and since I am so very frugal, I was basically sleeping in my car the majority of these events, but I never stopped pursuing the passion that I had for disc golf. And so from there, I was actually able to connect with Nicholas and play an entire round in the snow with him, which was wild. Truly one of the most insane experiences I've ever had. And then lo and behold, one of my classmates from grade school was actually the sister of the owner of Tech Disc, so I was able to connect with them, and that was super cool, going to see their whole facility and how it all came to be. And then from there, going to Des Moines and interviewing Alden and his whole experience with the tour life and how he's doing YouTube, and then finishing the year talking to Josh from Overthrow. It was all just so insane because I've been a fan of these people for so many years, and I honestly have to pinch myself in these moments where I'm talking to these people like we are on the same level. And I hate to say that I'm like a fanboy because I truly try not to be, but so many of these moments feel like I'm in an alternate reality where all of these people are so very gracious with their time that they're willing to give 40-45 minutes of their time just for me and my dumb channel. And let me tell you, that makes all of this worthwhile. So many moments are just spent alone in my house, editing nonstop, researching nonstop, and honestly, coming to results that kind of sting sometimes. I have videos that I work so hard on and they just don't perform well.
All right, today I'm playing every single course in Emporia.
Then I have videos where I spend maybe an hour, 90 minutes, and they perform so much better. It really makes it one of the most grueling and disappointing things you can do in life, especially when you're trying to do it full time. And I think that is a very clear transition to monetization.
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
I'm sure you probably don't care that much, but it was a very important part of my last year in my journey, so I have to talk about it. And number one, obviously, is YouTube revenue. I knew this was probably going to be the linchpin to make my whole disc golf journey work, and I needed a lot of views to kind of offset the huge loss of income I was going to make from programming, and it didn't even come close, but that's part of the journey. It's so important to learn what you can actually do and what you can't do. I think even for the biggest people like Jay Millie, I don't think they're doing it full time, and so you have to decide, is this something that you can actually do? And for me, spoiler alert, I'm learning no. I can't. I want to be. I'm not there. And I have to pivot. And there's definitely a major reason on that I'll get to later. But since YouTube revenue was definitely not my only form of income, I was slowly building out other ways to generate income. First one being my online store. I've been working on this for coming up on 2 years now, which is kind of crazy. And let me tell you, if I could put it succinctly, it is slow and steady. I wouldn't say anything's performing amazing, but it is just a nice addition to my everyday income. But man, it is so hard for me to sell anything. I'm not a salesman, I'm just a programmer, and it is so hard to turn that switch. And so I've been trying to, but I feel every time that I do it, it's like a weird sensation. Like I'm not worthy for you to give me your precious money. And so it's something that I've been having to battle with. I spent a lot of time designing the material on these shirts and bags, and I guarantee you'll like it. But going from the programming world where you don't have to sell anything, I was so comfortable in that workflow knowing that I don't have to sell myself. I can just be like, hey, if you have any issues, I can just use my code as a way to verify, hey, I know what I'm doing, this is working, and there is no point where I had to sell anything. So trying to generate money from my store is something that I've been really struggling with, but over time, I think I'm slowly getting there. And so that leads me to my most recent endeavor, and that is sponsorships. I have actually been getting a decent amount, and over the past couple of months, they have been kind of sneaking up as my second most valuable part of the way I make money. First one being YouTube revenue, obviously. But all this to say, this income didn't come by easy, didn't come by quickly, and it's certainly not anywhere close to where I want to be. And that's not to say that I'm done for. It's not to say that I'm going to end this all right now, but it is to say that I have a long road ahead of me, and I'm going to be focusing on making quality content the most. I do not want to be making videos that just go up and get like 500, 1,000 views. I want to make great stuff, and I'm still slowly learning what my voice is, but I definitely think in the off season, you'll see kind of what I mean. And I know I've been saying it for a while, but I genuinely think you will love this content that I'm making and have already made. And so that kind of leads me to my last point. The realization cannot be understated. I did not realize how much I would love everything, how much I would get burnt out by like making thumbnails and editing. I didn't realize how many emotions I would feel in this year-long journey. Going from essentially being locked in my house, doing programming during COVID, to getting engaged and then married, and then in my most recent year, playing Terry's course in Thailand, going to Germany, Finland, Norway, Japan, South Korea, Thailand, and Singapore. And then not only that, but immediately the day after I get back from Japan, I ran the LA Marathon, and that was crazy. And so all is to say, I've had so many amazing experiences this past year. I've been loving my life this past year. I've been loving all the experiences. I've been fully experiencing the grind and burnout of YouTube and what life actually looks like as being kind of dependent with your only income being YouTube and social media. But having said that, there's one certainty that I have not told you about, and that is the future birth of my brand new boy. It is a crazy statement, but I'm officially becoming a father in just a few months. I feel like I'm gonna cry. And so that leads me to why my future is unclear and why this whole journey is coming to a very interesting halt, sort of, because I'm actually not stopping YouTube. I'm still going to be doing it. I'm still going to be grinding away, but it's going to look pretty different with the focus being a brand new child. I'm going to be doing a lot of dad duty, but my wife is a very hard worker in the medical profession, and she is so down with allowing me to become sort of kind of full-time dad duty. So obviously I'm going to be working on the channel, I'm going to be working on my business and some other businesses, but of course the main focus will be fathering my child and not having to worry about daycare costs and all these stresses and finances that come with that. It is going to be kind of on me to run this whole journey. Of course, my wife is going to be home to raise our child as well, but for so many days a month, it's going to be on me to raise this child. And that's only one child. I'm sure we'll have more in the future, but this is a total flip and switch of my entire life. And it's going to be crazy. It's going to be hectic, and maybe possibly he'll be on the channel. Who knows? As someone that's been on the internet forever, I know there are so many weirdos out there, so you really cannot trust anybody around your kids, especially on the internet. But if I do feel comfortable enough, I'll definitely show him off. But all this to say, I'm so grateful for this past year. I can't tell you how many moments I've woken up with just like giddiness. I feel so happy, so enthralled. There are a lot of days that feel like a grind, but that's okay. This journey is not supposed to be just easy, and being met with failure again and again every day is part of it. There's no way out of it. This is just the road ahead. But I definitely have to say, all of you guys that have watched this, all you guys that have been staying with me through this journey, can't tell you enough how much it means to me that you guys continue to watch, because this is truly my passion. It has all been so surreal, so insane, and I cannot believe where I've been in this past year and what this future holds for me. Hopefully I can still film at a couple of events next year. We'll see what that looks like. I definitely want to go to Worlds, but the only thing that I ask is that you try to stay along with me on this journey. Every single person that's watched my videos has allowed me to be where I'm at, allowed me to generate so many new experiences with so many interesting people in the disc golf world. So if you've liked any of my stuff before or want to see what crazy stuff I have coming up, subscribe. It would mean the world to me. And follow me on my journey as I go into the unknown of fatherhood and pursuing my goal to be one of the best disc golf creators out there. I can't tell you every video will be a banger, but I sure hope you give it a shot. So with that, look out for Wild Runs Jr. coming to you in 2025. Peace.
I still recall the day that we met. You were wearing your Calico dress.
I am surprised on how hard it is for me to be responsible for another human. And you become secondary. It's one of those things you can't really explain. You gotta live through it. It'll push your patience and your relationship with your wife to the absolute limits.